guys, so today we are making cornbread, a southern staple, and one of those things that I just absolutely adore. We're going to start off by preheating our oven to 375, and we're going to stick our pan. I'm using a 12-inch cast iron skillet. If you do not have a 12-inch cast iron skillet, a regular 9x13 cake pan will do just fine. And we are going to preheat the pan in the oven while we make up our cornbread. We're going to start off with our larger bowl and add in our dry ingredients first. Then we're going to mix up our wet ingredients and then pour the wet into the dry using the muffin method. So we are going to start off with our dry. And remember, I just showed you guys again how to measure dry ingredients in the pumpkin bread video. So if you don't remember, then go back and review it. We're starting off with 2 cups of cornmeal. So there's 1 and 2 cups. Next, half a cup of rice flour. Half a cup of gluten-free all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon plus 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of xanthan gum. Then we're just going to whisk to combine. There we go. We've taken care of all of our lumps. Most of them anyway. Now on to the wet ingredients. We're going to start off by melting our 1 stick of butter. There we go. And that'll probably take a minute. Okay, so our melted butter is done. But before we add any of the liquids to this bowl, we want to go ahead and beat our eggs, because if we add the eggs with the rest of the liquid ingredients, they're just going to float around while we try to beat them. So beat them first, then add the liquids. And of course, always crack eggs on a flat surface, so that way you don't push any shell into the egg as it comes out. And there we go, perfect. So we've got our stick of melted butter here. That's going to go in. And make sure you mix that immediately, because the butter might be hot enough to start scrambling the egg. And then we're going to add 1 1/4 cup of buttermilk plus 1/2 cup of 1/2 and 1/2. And make sure that you always look at the side of the measuring cup, so that way you get an accurate measurement. So, pour this in. There we go. Now, all that's left for our batter is to add the wet to the dry, and to carefully fold in with our rubber spatula, just until it is incorporated. There may still be some lumps, but that's okay. There we go. That looks perfect. Okay, so we've got to do this quickly. Because we don't want the oven cooling down too much. So first things first is add your fat to the pan. about 2 tablespoons worth. So there's 1. And 2. And I'm using bacon grease. Make sure the entire bottom of the pan gets coated. Next up, we add our cornbread batter, being very careful not to splash. Push out towards the edges. There we go, that looks pretty good to me. Push that back in. And we're gonna let that bake about 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, it has been half an hour. Move that out of the way. Grab my oven mitts. Ooh, that looks pretty. And we're going to have to let this cool down before we can cut in and serve, because the chemical leaveners in there may not have finished all of their reactions. So we want to let that cool down and let those finish what they're doing, because it tastes really bad if you try to cut in before that's finished. So we'll come back in about, I don't know, half an hour or so, and it should be cool enough to cut them. So as you can see, cornbread is done. And I may have already gotten into it a bit. You can see here the crispy brown deliciousness from preheating our pan. Not to mention delicious bacon flavor, because I use bacon fat. Perfect. It actually doesn't even need butter, but you know, butter makes everything better, so I'm going to add some anyway. So good. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy some privacy with my cornbread. I hope you guys enjoy making, and even better, eating your own cornbread. I will see you next time on the Deglutenizer.